Let's go.
I might need to step on that first. Okay.
Because this is sneaking up. I've got to meet you where you are. Even though it makes me nervous to know that I'm being recorded.
Even though it makes me a little bit nervous to know that I might be recorded, or I'm going to be recorded.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And this nervous feeling.
And this nervous feeling.
Even though I'm being recorded now.
Even though I'm being recorded now.
And that makes me a little bit nervous.
And that makes me a little bit nervous.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I am being recorded right now.
Even though I am being recorded right now.
And that makes me a little bit nervous.
And that makes me a little bit nervous.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
Being recorded makes me nervous.
Being recorded makes me nervous.
I'm a little bit nervous now.
I'm a little bit nervous now.
I am being recorded.
I am being recorded.
And that makes me a little bit nervous.
And that makes me a little bit nervous.
I am being recorded.
I am being recorded.
I am a little bit nervous.
I am a little bit nervous about it.
But maybe I can release some of that nervousness.
But maybe I can release some of that nervousness.
Maybe I can be okay with being recorded.
Maybe I can be okay with being recorded.
I might even be safe.
I might even be safe.
Being recorded.
Being recorded.
Okay. So there was a big breath then. So does that feel okay? So that's, part of sneaking up is meeting them exactly where they are straight away. All right. Mm-hmm. So tell me, just tapping here, what you want to work on.
So I guess the biting, picking the sides of my fingernails, the sides. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there one hand more than the other, or one finger more than the other, or?
My thumbs tend to get the brunt of it, but other fingers do too.
And when you say that, how does it make you feel when, like you're saying that and there's a whole bunch of people here listening and, it's about you and your...
And my bad habit. Yeah. I feel a little bit embarrassed about it. Definitely.
Yeah. And where do you feel that in your body?
In my chest and like solar plexus area.
Mm-hmm. What is it out of 10?
Maybe a 6.
Mm-hmm. Even though I've got this embarrassed feeling.
Even though I have this embarrassed feeling.
It's about 6 out of 10 in my chest.
About 6 out of 10 in my chest.
When I think about other people knowing about my habit.
When I think about other people knowing about my habit.
Or how I pick and chew at my fingers.
Or how I pick and chew at my fingers.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I feel a little bit embarrassed.
Even though I feel embarrassed.
And I feel it in my chest, 6 out of 10.
And I feel it in my chest, 6 out of 10.
When I know others know about my embarrassing habit.
When I know others know about my embarrassing habit.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I feel embarrassed in my chest.
Even though I feel embarrassment in my chest.
When I know others know about my embarrassing habit.
When I know that others know about my embarrassing habit.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
This chewing and picking at my fingers.
Chewing and picking at my fingers.
It's become a habit.
It's become a bad habit.
It's a nervous habit.
It's a nervous habit.
I just do it constantly.
I just do it constantly.
It's almost like it's a tick.
It's almost like it's a tick.
And my thumbs get the brunt of it.
My thumbs get the brunt of it.
And I feel a little embarrassed about it.
And I feel a little embarrassed about it.
And I feel it in my chest.
And I feel it in my chest.
This feeling of this nervous habit.
This nervous habit.
And this embarrassment around it.
And this embarrassment around it.
Picking at my skin and chewing at my skin.
Picking at my skin and chewing at my skin.
Around my fingers, especially my thumb.
Around my fingers, especially my thumbs.
My coworkers know that it's always there.
My coworkers know that it's always there.
And it feels like it's a habit.
And it feels like it's a habit.
Part of me feels like I can't control it.
Part of me feels like I can't control it.
This nervous habit, I just do it.
This nervous habit, I just do it.
It's constant.
It's constant.
It feels like a tick.
It feels like a tick.
It feels like I don't have control over it.
It feels like I don't have control over it.
Okay, so I added a few things in, but they were landing with you. So out of all of that I just said, what's there for you now, or what's coming up for you?
Well, I'm still picking at my, I'm still pressing on it, but I don't feel as embarrassed. Whatever, it's a habit, it's awkward. Maybe we all have them. But I don't know, nothing much, just a shift about that, I guess.
Yep. And do you remember how old you were when you first started?
No. I sucked my thumb for a long time. And I bit my nails for a long time until about high school. So it was probably part of that whole system of biting my nails.
So when you remember biting your nails till high school, was it then that you were also biting the skin or picking at the skin around them, or did that happen afterwards?
Yeah, it was about the same, not the intensity as it is now, but yeah, I did.
Okay. And when you remember high school biting nails or sucking your thumb for a long time, is there any specific memory that comes up around that? Let's just tap and tune into it. Even though I sucked my thumb for a long time.
Even though I sucked my thumb for a long time.
And I remember biting my nails until high school.
And I remember biting my nails until high school.
And I remember picking my nails, picking my fingers around the nails.
And I remember picking up my fingers around the nails.
And maybe biting them. But to less intensity.
But at a less intensity.
I accept myself and everything I remember.
I accept myself and everything that I remember.
Even though I sucked my thumb for a long time.
Even though I sucked my thumb for a long time.
And I bit my nails till high school.
And I bit my nails until high school.
And I probably was picking and biting around my nails at a less intensity.
And I was picking and biting around my nails at a less intensity.
I accept myself and everything I remember.
I accept myself and everything that I remember.
Even though I sucked my thumb for a really long time.
Even though I sucked my thumb for a really long time.
And I bit my nails till high school.
And I bit my nails until high school.
And I began picking and chewing around my fingers.
And I began picking and chewing around my fingers.
But at a less intensity to now.
At a less intensity to now.
I accept myself and everything my body remembers.
I accept myself and everything my body remembers.
This feeling about sucking my thumb for a long time.
This feeling about sucking my thumb for a long time.
I sucked 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 my thumb for a long time.
From a very early age, I was used to having my thumbs in my mouth.
From a very early age, I was used to having my thumb in my mouth.
And maybe it soothed me.
Maybe it soothed me.
That feeling from a baby of feeling soothed.
That feeling of a baby, of feeling soothed.
I wonder if having my thumbs in my mouth at a very early age helped me feel soothed.
I wonder if having my thumbs in my mouth from a very early age helped me feel soothed.
And I wonder if my body's remembered that.
And I wonder if my body's remembered that.
That feeling of being soothed.
That feeling of being soothed.
My thumb to my mouth.
My thumb to my mouth.
I sucked on my thumb for a long time.
I sucked on my thumb for a long time.
It must have been very soothing.
I must have been very soothing.
Representing that suckling as a baby.
Representing that suckling as a baby.
That thumb to my mouth, soothing feeling.
That thumb to my mouth, soothing feeling.
I imagine it would have made me feel calm.
I imagine it would have made me feel calm.
That thumb to my mouth, soothing feeling.
That thumb to my mouth, soothing feeling.
I imagine it would have made me feel calm.
I imagine it would have made me feel calm.
I sucked my thumb for a long time.
I sucked my thumb for a long time.
I learned to self-soothe.
I learned to self-soothe.
Sucking my thumb calmed me.
Sucking my thumb calmed me.
And maybe it became a habit.
And maybe it became a habit.
But as I grew older, I imagine I would have been told off for sucking my thumb.
Yeah, I imagine. I was definitely told off for sucking my thumb. Yeah.
But I had this habit of putting my thumb to my mouth.
But I had this habit of putting my thumb to my mouth.
So maybe I learned to not suck my thumb, but chew it.
So maybe I learned to not suck my thumb, but chew.
Because I remember being told off for sucking my thumb.
Because I remember being told off for sucking my thumb.
I was told off for sucking my thumb.
I was told off for sucking my thumb.
I remember that.
I remember that.
But sucking my thumb soothed me.
But sucking my thumb soothed me.
And at that young age, with that habit of putting thumb to mouth, to self-soothe, I was conflicted.
I was
told off.
I
wanted to self-soothe. But I was told off. This habit of putting my thumb to my mouth. That I learned in my formative years. I learned to self-soothe. I was very clever. And my body remembers that. I've practiced it a lot. Okay, so as I was doing that, I was doing a bit of fishing and imagining, that that's how it felt. And like when I said, I imagine I would have been told off, you said, yes, I was.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
Yeah, a lot came up though. Some related, some unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember sucking my thumb from a young age. And my mom she did everything she could to get me to stop. She did hot sauce, she did yelling, she did pulling it out, she did bandaging it up. She did everything. I think there was a level of embarrassment for her that I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 sucking my thumb. But it was self-soothing. And it was, so I was working yesterday with, oh my gosh. Celine, thank you. I'm sorry that I just forgot that. And some stuff came up about feeling supported or not feeling supported, and not feeling like I was given coping skills. I was just kind of punished and not given coping skills when I was young. And as I'm thinking about that sort of feeling of sucking my thumb was kind of that self-coping skill, was that kind of thing that helped me manage myself. That's what I could, do for myself.
Yeah. So a coping skill and still a calming.
Yeah, to calm the big feelings that came up when I was little.
Yeah. And as you say that, where are you feeling it in your body?
I feel it in my chest, and my throat is starting to get a little tightened.
Yeah. And what's the emotion there?
This combo of like fear and sadness. I'm not totally sure why. I'm not, yeah.
Okay. Even though I'm not totally sure why.
Even though I'm not totally sure why.
I have this fear and sadness combination feeling.
I have this fear and sadness combination feeling.
In my chest and a tightness in my throat.
In my chest and a tightness in my throat.
Because I had this coping skill.
Because I had this coping skill.
To deal with all the big feelings that I had when I was little.
To deal with all of the big feelings that I had when I was little.
The only thing that would help calm me was putting my thumb in my mouth.
The only thing that would help calm me was putting my thumb in my mouth.
Because I didn't feel supported.
Because I didn't feel supported.
With all these big feelings.
And with all those big feelings.
When I was little.
When I was little.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I have these fear and sadness feelings.
Even though I have these fear and sadness feelings.
And I feel them in my chest and a tightness in my throat.
And I feel them in my chest and a tightness in my throat.
I remember putting my thumb in my mouth as a coping skill.
I remember putting my thumb in my mouth as a coping skill.
It would help calm. And it makes me want to cough.
Hold on.
This often happens. Lots of coughing. We're getting there. Holding the space for her. We definitely hit the nail on the head there.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. And it's brought up
release.
And it brought up all this emotion.
And it's brought up all this emotion
that wants to come out of my throat with coughing.
That wants to just be hacked out of my throat with coughing.
I accept myself and the way my body processes this.
I accept myself in the way that my body is processing this.
Even though there's a mixture of fear and sadness.
Even though there's a mixture of fear and sadness.
When I think about when I was little.
When I think about when I was little.
And the way my throat wants to hack this out of me.
And I think about the way that my throat wants to hack this out of me.
All these emotions.
All these emotions.
And the only way I could soothe them was putting my thumb in my mouth.
And the only way that I could soothe them was putting my thumb in my mouth.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
This feeling in my throat.
This feeling in my throat.
All of these emotions trapped in my throat.
All of these emotions trapped in my throat.
I wasn't supported when I was little.
I wasn't supported when I was little.
I wasn't supported for all the big emotions I felt.
I didn't feel supported for all the big emotions that I felt.
I couldn't get those big emotions out.
I couldn't get those big emotions out.
They've been trapped in my throat for years.
I've been trapped in my throat for years. I got the big emotions out, but they weren't like I got them out and I got in trouble for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had to keep pushing them down.
I had to soothe myself with them.
Mm-hmm. I had to soothe myself.
And I had to soothe myself.
Sucking my thumb was how I soothed myself.
Sucking my thumb was how I soothed myself.
All these big emotions, I wasn't supported with them.
All these big emotions, I didn't feel supported with them.
And when I spoke them, I was told off.
And when I spoke them, I was punished.
I was punished.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being punished.
I remember being punished.
For speaking how I felt.
For speaking how I felt.
I remember being punished.
I remember being punished.
For speaking how I felt.
For speaking how I felt.
So I learned to push those emotions down.
So I learned to push those emotions down.
I learned to stop those emotions coming out.
I learned to, I didn't really learn to stop those emotions coming out.
I didn't learn to stop those emotions coming out.
No, I just learned how to soothe myself better.
Mm-hmm. I learned how to soothe myself better.
Learned how to soothe myself better.
And the only way I learned to soothe myself was sucking my thumb.
And the only way I had to soothe myself was to suck my thumb.
All these emotions in my throat.
All those emotions in my throat.
All these emotions in my throat.
All those emotions in my throat.
I wasn't supported to express them.
I wasn't supported to express them or understand them.
Or understand them.
Understand them.
And I feel all of these emotions churning around in my throat.
And I feel all these emotions churning around in my throat.
Wanting to be supported.
I'm not feeling supported.
Mm-hmm. So come back here. So what's going on for you now when you explain what's your body feeling and what part of the emotion is it linked to or memory?
I've had coughing fits, but none that I can't move through. So it's really interesting to me that I can't
Mm-hmm.
get that tickle out of my throat.
Yep. Okay. Let's just do that. Even though I've had coughing fits before.
Even though I've had coughing fits before.
But I've been able to move through them.
I've been able to move through them.
But I have this constant tickle in the back of my throat.
I have this constant tickle in the back of my throat.
And I thank my body for holding on to it.
And sorry, what was that?
I thank my body for holding on to it.
I thank my body for holding on to it.
To protect me in some way.
To protect me in some way.
But I give my body permission to process and release it now.
But I give my body permission to process it and release it now.
All the way back to all the times I felt it.
All the way back to all the times I felt it.
Even though I've had coughing fits before.
Even though I've had coughing fits before.
But I've been able to move through them.
And I've been able to move through them.
But there's all these mixed emotions trapped in my throat.
There's all these mixed emotions trapped in my throat.
This tickle in my throat.
Tickle in my throat.
And I give my body permission to process and release everything that's trapped there.
I give my body permission to process and release anything that's trapped there.
Even though I've still got this tickle in my throat.
Even though I've still got this tickle in my throat.
I thank my throat for holding on to these emotions.
I thank my throat for holding on to these emotions.
And I give my throat permission to process and release what's trapped there.
And I give my throat permission to process and release what's trapped there.
All these mixed emotions.
All these mixed emotions.
I wasn't supported when I released my emotions.
I wasn't supported when I released the emotions.
All these big feelings.
All these big feelings.
I wasn't supported to understand them.
I wasn't supported to understand them.
And when I expressed them, I was punished.
And when I expressed them, I was punished.
Have all this confusion.
All this confusion.
This young age confusion.
This young age confusion.
When I expressed how I felt, I was punished.
And when I expressed how I felt, I was punished.
I remember being punished.
I remember being punished.
My throat remembers being punished.
My throat remembers being punished.
I wanted to express my emotions.
I wanted to express my emotions.
I did express my big feelings.
I did express my big feelings.
But I wasn't helped to understand them.
But I wasn't helped to understand them.
I wasn't supported to understand them.
I wasn't supported to understand them.
And I still remember that young age feeling.
And I still remember that young age feeling.
Of expressing my feelings and not being supported.
Of expressing my feelings and not being supported.
of being punished,
being punished,
feeling unsupported,
feeling unsupported,
feeling punished.
feeling punished.
The only way I could self-soothe was thumb to mouth.
The only way that I could self-soothe was thumb to mouth.
And my body remembers that.
And my body remembers that.
Even as an adult, my body remembers that.
Even as an adult, my body remembers that.
This tickle in my throat.
This tickle in my throat.
Whenever I'm feeling emotions.
Whenever I'm feeling emotions.
But unsure whether to express them.
But unsure whether to express them.
In case I get punished.
In case I get punished.
Thumb to mouth.
Thumb to mouth.
That self-soothing habit.
That self-soothing habit.
When I'm not feeling supported.
When I'm not feeling supported.
When I'm feeling big emotions.
When I'm feeling big emotions.
This tickle in my throat.
This tickle in my throat.
Releasing and letting go.
Releasing and letting go.
Of this tickle in my throat.
Of this tickle in my throat.
I have tapping to self-soothe now.
I have tapping to self-soothe now.
And I let my body feel soothed.
And I can let my body feel soothed.
As I release and let go of this tickle in my throat.
As I release and let go of this tickle in my throat.
Of all these confused emotions.
Of all these confused emotions.
Mm-hmm. So take a deep breath. So I did quite a lot of long rounds there because I was allowing the throat to be worked on. Yeah. So what came up for you then? What's going on for you right now?
I'm just focused on my throat. I don't know. There's something that's just like, I feel like there's something lodged in there.
Mm-hmm. And if there was a shape, what would it be?
Kind of an oval, an ovalish shape.
Yep. And if it was a color?
Like black and brown and a little bit of orange.
Mm-hmm. And if it was an object, what would it be?
Like a dirt clod.
And if it reminded you of a person, who would it be?
I guess my mom comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. And if it reminds you of an age that you felt it the most, what age would you have been? Just what number pops into mind?
I don't know. I keep having a memory coming up.
Yep. Tell me about the memory.
It's a memory of I got upset with something. I don't remember what it was. I was probably, I don't know, maybe 6. Mm-hmm. And my mom told me to, calm down, stop having big feelings. I couldn't, and I got really upset and I got really big and loud. And I remember her grabbing me by the arm and dragging me down the hallway and like throwing me in my room and like literally locking the door from the outside. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't get out until like I dealt with my feeling.
Mm-hmm. All right. And when you say that, what emotions coming up when you think of that memory?
Anger.
And is that in your throat?
Yeah.
Yep. Even though I've got all this anger in my throat.
Even though I've got all this anger in my throat.
Feels like something's lodged there.
It feels like something's lodged there.
Like an oval, black, brown, orange dirt clod.
Like an oval, black, brown, orange dirt clod.
And it reminds me of this 6-year-old memory.
And it reminds me of the 6-year-old memory.
When I was upset about something.
When I was upset about something.
And I was letting out my big feelings.
And I was letting out my big feelings.
I accept myself and everything I feel.
I accept myself and everything I feel.
Even though mum didn't accept how I felt.
Even though mom didn't accept how I felt.
And she didn't like hearing my big feelings.
And she didn't like hearing my big feelings.
And I've got this feeling like it's lodged in my throat.
I have this feeling like it's lodged in my throat.
I accept myself and everything I'm feeling.
I accept myself and everything I'm feeling.
Even though I've got this anger.
Even though I've got this anger.
Lodged in my throat.
Lodged in my throat.
Like an oval, black, brown, orange dirt clod.
Like an oval, black, brown, orange dirt clod.
And it reminds me of being 6.
And it reminds me of being 6.
And my big feelings and mum not wanting to hear them.
And my big feelings and mom not wanting to hear them.
I accept myself and the way my body's held on to this.
And I accept myself and the way that my body's held on to this.
And I'm ready and open to process and release this.
And I'm ready and open to process and release this.
That 6-year-old memory.
That 6-year-old memory.
I was letting out my big feelings.
I was just letting out my big feelings.
And mum told me to stop.
And mum told me to stop.
And I got louder.
And I got louder.
And I remember feeling mum grab my arm.
And I remember feeling mom grab my arm.
I remember feeling her drag me down the hall.
I remember feeling her drag me down the hall.
I remember her throwing me into my room.
I remember her throwing me into my room.
I remember hearing the door lock.
I remember hearing the door lock.
And I was trapped in my room.
And I was trapped in my room.
Alone with my big feelings.
Alone with my big feelings.
And I felt angry and unsupported.
And I felt angry and unsupported.
That feeling of being all alone.
That feeling of being all alone.
Unsupported with my big feelings.
Unsupported with my big feelings.
I feel all this anger in my throat.
I feel all this anger in my throat.
Like it's lodged there.
Like it's lodged there.
That black, brown, orange dirt clod.
That black, brown, orange dirt clod.
That upset feeling.
That upset feeling.
And the only way I could soothe myself.
And the only way that I could soothe myself.
Was sucking on my thumb.
Was sucking on my thumb.
I wasn't soothed by my mum.
I wasn't soothed by my mom.
I had to learn to self-soothe.
I had to learn to self-soothe.
But I'm stepping back in time now.
But I'm stepping back in time now.
Sorry, I have to go quantum with you. We're stepping back in time to that little 6-year-old me.
To that little 6-year-old me.
I'm walking into that bedroom.
I'm walking into that bedroom.
I'm sitting down with that little 6-year-old me.
I'm sitting down with that little 6-year-old me.
And I let her know I'm her all grown up.
And I let her know that I'm here all grown up.
And that she's not alone.
And she's not alone.
And I'm here to help her.
And I'm here to help.
And I let her know that I'm helping her by tapping on her.
That I'm helping her by tapping on her.
Tapping on her and letting her know I know she has lots of big feelings.
And tapping on her and letting her know that I know she has lots of big feelings.
I understand her.
And I understand her.
And I'm tapping on her to help her release them.
And I'm tapping on her to help them release them.
And if she wants to scream out all her anger, I'm letting her.
And if she wants to scream out all of her anger, I'm letting her.
And I'm giving her her pillow to punch.
And I'm giving her her pillow to punch.
I'm letting her know it's safe to let out all that anger.
And I'm letting her know it's safe, safe to let out all that anger.
I understand her. I know how she feels.
I understand her and I know how she feels.
Tapping on her, letting her know it's safe to process all those angry emotions.
Tapping on her and letting her know that it's safe to process all those angry emotions.
Letting her know she's safe to let it all out.
letting her know that she's safe to let it all out.
I'm here with her. She's not alone.
I'm here with her. She's not alone.
I'm here to help her.
I'm here to help her.
And she can call on me from the future whenever she needs me.
And she can call on me from the future whenever she needs me.
Tapping on her and letting her know it's safe to let go of all those emotions.
It's safe to let go of all those emotions.
I'm here to support her and help her.
I'm here to support her and help her.
I'll always be there for her.
I'll always be there for her.
She can call on me from the future whenever she needs me.
And she can call on me from the future whenever she needs me.
She's safe now to let out all those big feelings.
And she's safe now to let out all those big feelings.
She's never alone.
She's never alone.
I'm always there for her.
I'm always there for her.
She's safe now.
She's safe now.
And I'm teaching her how to tap.
And I'm teaching her how to tap.
To learn to help her process these big feelings.
To help her to learn how to process these big feelings.
And that it's safe to let them all out.
And that it's safe to let them all out.
And I'll always be here to help her.
And I'll always be here to help her.
She's safe now.
She's safe now.
And we start to play some games in her bedroom.
And we can start to play some games in her bedroom.
And have fun and laughter.
And have fun and laughter.
Okay, so take a deep breath. How does she feel now?
How does my 6-year-old girl feel?
Yeah.
She feels good.
Supported, having fun, loved, not alone.
Yeah.
Good. You know, one of the things when we go into childhood traumas, what are the 4 things of trauma is feeling all alone. Something unexpected has happened to them. Feeling physically threatened in some way. Feeling powerless. Yeah. So by addressing that, when you do quantum EFT, your present self going back, it's like, I know you, I'm you, you're not alone. Straight away, they're not alone.
Yeah.
I'm here for you, I understand you.
Right.
Then you tap on whatever they're feeling and give them that ability to know they can come and get you from the future whenever they need you.
Mm-hmm.
But allowing them to have the tools of tapping as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt good.
Yeah. Cool. And you see, I mostly tap, I stay here so that you're just focused. It's more of a hypnotic sort of process as well when you stay here.
Yeah.
This is the viewpoint. Yeah. And people go deeper. You could all see that she went deeper into that then. Mm-hmm. It's a quantum state where your physical presence is back there in time with her.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely felt like I was in a bubble of that memory.
Yeah. It's a different space.
Yeah. It was interesting to walk into a memory and consciously change it, I guess. Part of that change of that memory.
And it's an energetic change as well. It's a conscious and it's a full energetic. That's why it's quantum. It's not just 3-dimensional. It's not just conscious. It's a quantum energetic state that is changed. Okay, so sorry, but I can't help myself going quantum when it has to.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That was really great.
All right, so when you think now of your throat, before you had this anger that was lodged, it was black, brown, orange, dirt clod around mom, that 6-year-old memory. How is your body feeling right now?
Better. My throat still feels a little bit tight. And there's a slight feeling of that tickle, but it's not catching, it doesn't have that catch to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, just that sort of tightness.
Mm-hmm. Even though I've still got some remaining tightness in my throat.
Even though I still have some remaining tightness in my throat.
But my body's processing something big right now.
My body's processing something big right now.
I give my body permission and time to allow that to process.
I give my body permission and time to allow that to process.
All the way back to all the times I felt it.
All the way back to all the times I felt it.
Even though I've still got some tickle and some tightness in my throat.
Even though I've still got some tickle and some tightness in my throat.
I'm allowing my body the time to process what we've just worked on.
I'm allowing my body the time to process what we've just worked on.
Even though I still have a tickle and tightness in my throat.
Even though I still have a tickle and tightness in my throat.
I'm allowing my body to catch up with what we've just processed.
I'm allowing my body to catch up with what we just processed.
This remaining tickle and tightness in my throat.
This remaining tickle and tightness in my throat.
I was never given permission to express my big feelings when I was little.
I was never given permission to express my big feelings when I was little.
But I'm giving my body permission to express them now.
But I'm giving my body permission to express them now.
By releasing and letting go.
By releasing and letting go.
Of this tightness.
Of this tightness.
This tickle.
Of this tickle.
This confusion in my throat.
This confusion in my throat.
This remaining anger in my throat.
This remaining anger in my throat.
It's safe to have big feelings and express them now.
It's safe to have big feelings and express them now.
And I choose to express them in a way that is more beneficial for me now.
And I choose to express them in a way that's more beneficial to me now.
And maybe I can even let go of that childhood self-soothing thumb to mouth.
And maybe I could even let go of some of that childhood self-soothing thumb to mouth.
I have a different way of self-soothing now.
I have a different way of self-soothing now.
I can tap instead now.
I can tap instead now.
And maybe I can let go of that old habit of thumb to mouth.
And maybe I can let go of old habit of thumb to mouth.
Chewing on the skin around my thumb.
And chewing and picking at the skin on my thumb.
And my other fingers.
And my other fingers.
I might even go into tapping on them instead.
I might even go into tapping on them instead.
I wonder what that would feel like.
And I wonder what that would feel like.
Maybe I can practice tapping on my fingers.
Maybe I can practice tapping on my fingers.
That might be more acceptable.
That might be more acceptable.
For me as an adult.
For me as an adult.
And it might be a new habit I can begin.
And it might be a new habit that I can begin.
One that isn't embarrassing.
One that isn't as embarrassing.
My mum used to get so embarrassed.
My mom used to get so embarrassed.
When I would suck my thumb.
When I would suck my thumb.
She'd yell at me, bandage my hands, put hot sauce on them.
She'd yell at me, bandage my hands, put hot sauce on them.
She'd do everything she could to stop me sucking my thumbs.
She'd do everything she could to stop me sucking my thumb.
She felt embarrassed.
She felt embarrassed.
But she didn't realize that was my only way to self-soothe.
And she didn't realize that was my only way to self-soothe.
But now I have a different way to self-soothe.
But now I have a different way to self-soothe.
I even taught my 6-year-old self how to tap.
Yeah, I even taught my 6-year-old self how to tap.
And now I can tap on my fingers to self-soothe.
And now I can tap on my fingers to self-soothe.
To self-regulate.
Self-regulate.
I can even do it one-handed.
I can even do it one-handed.
And maybe I don't need to pick.
And maybe I don't need to pick.
I can tap instead.
I can tap instead.
I wonder what that would feel like
I wonder what that would feel like.
to start practicing tapping every day.
Just practicing tapping every day.
Just like this.
It's like this.
I owe it to that 6-year-old that I taught tapping to.
I owe it to that 6-year-old that I taught tapping to.
I owe it to myself.
I owe it to myself.
To self-soothe and tap on myself.
To self-soothe and tap on myself.
Instead of fingers to mouth.
Instead of fingers to mouth.
And it might be easier than I think.
And it might be easier than I think.
To self-soothe by doing this.
Self-soothe by doing this.
Mm-hmm. How does that feel? I didn't do a 9 gamut. I was going to somewhere in there, but we quantumed instead. How does that feel for you now, though?
It feels good. Like good. I feel lighter. I still feel it a little bit, but it doesn't feel
unmanageable.
Yeah, it doesn't have like that big, hot, tight energy around it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just the dust that needs to settle a little bit.
Yeah.
As it processes in.
Mm-hmm. Even though the dust is still settling in my throat.
Even though the dust is still settling in my throat.
There's still some processing going on.
There's still some processing going on.
I give my body permission to complete that.
And I give my body permission to complete that.
Even though there's still some tickling going on.
Even though there's still some tickling going on.
But it's not unmanageable.
But it's not unmanageable.
I'm allowing my body to continue to process there.
I'm allowing my body to continue to process there.
Even though there's still some remaining tickling in my throat.
Even though there's still some remaining tickling in my throat.
My body is processing it.
My body is processing it.
And I give my body permission to do so.
And I give my body permission to do so.
Continuing processing that tickling feeling in my throat.
Continuing processing that tickling feeling in my throat.
It's safe to continue to process that.
It's safe to continue to process that.
This continuing processing in my throat.
This continuing processing in my throat.
It's not unmanageable now.
It's not unmanageable now.
And I'm glad my body's continuing to process this.
And I'm glad my body's continuing to process this.
And I might be surprised that it'll be all finished before I know it.
And I might be surprised it'll be all finished before I know it.
Releasing this remaining tickling in my throat.
Releasing this remaining tickling in my throat.
Thanking my body for processing and releasing it.
Thanking my body for processing and releasing it.
Okay, big deep breath. Good stuff. Well done.
Thank you.
And yeah, we went through some big stuff and we processed some big stuff. So make sure that in the next break you go for a walk or have lots of water like what you've been doing, and you might feel very tired tonight.
Good. Thank you.